guys, welcome to another episode of the Chris and Kadie Show. I am Boston Chris, and that right next to me is the young lady, the beautiful Kadie Lynn. Kadie, how are you doing today? It's been 2 weeks since we talked. How's everything going?
Everything is great. How about you? How's everything in Chris's world?
Chris's world is like a rated R catastrophe just waiting to happen.
I hear that.
Yeah, it's no, things are okay, I think. So it's funny for this show. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time, or even maybe you're here for the third time, I hope you are, and are wondering kind of Kadie and I's format for this is we just kind of live our lives like normal, and if we see something that interests us on the news or social media or whatever, then we write it down, and then we kind of have to. I guess the best way is to try to convince the other one to do that subject. So, like, I know Katie's not much into wrestling, for example, so I'm not going to put like WrestleMania out there because that wouldn't be fair. And then she's not going to put like I don't know something that she's interested in that I'm not, and make me look like a fool. So we have to make sure that we both kind of look okay when it comes to this. So, with that being said, I heard that you got a new job, Kadie. Is that true?
Um, what are yes, a couple.
Well, I know when we met to do this show, you had just left your job.
Yeah.
And then you told me
Oh,
the other day that you were working your petunias off, so I'm
yeah,
curious
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're up to.
Well, so I am doing music lessons, which is a lot of fun. I started those a couple months, not a couple months ago, like a month and a half ago, maybe. But I'm starting to get more students and stuff, so that's a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about that. I'm doing vocals, piano, guitar, that good stuff. And also, just found out a couple days ago, um, previously the Bomb Factory, but the factory in Deep Ellum, it's a concert venue. I just got hired to start working there. So
So, okay, so that's exciting. What are you going to be doing
that's
there?
fun too. I'm, I'm just gonna be doing like basic stuff like checking people's tickets and all that, but it's gonna be super fun. I get to be there for all kinds of concerts and all that good jazz.
So, are you going to be open for support? Being a support act for for the artists
Oh
there?
yeah, I'll be weaseling.
Weaseling your way in there. That's right. You got to weasel your way in. Start as the merch girl, but end up as the star of the show, right? I know how that is. You got to do it
Go,
that way,
let's
though.
go.
All right. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess we're doing this every other week. But 2 weeks ago, we started off with O.J. Simpson,
We did.
and we are gonna start off this episode with something equally as creepy, and that is periodical cicadas. Couple of things they have
That
in common with O.J. Simpson. They are both very, very insecty, right? And then
make your
also
skin crawl
they're also both going to be dead. One is already dead, and the others are going to be dead soon. Um,
very soon. Yeah.
so, first thing for you before we even talk about this, Kadie, how aware of you of periodical cicadas?
So I read a little bit on what you were sending me. That is freaking wild. Wild. Cicadas don't bother me. Being from where I'm from, they're like everywhere. I would find a little old shells of little cicadas around. And I was like, look, thought they were.
Well,
I was a weird kid.
I think it's interesting because there's one thing to be talking about cicadas, and we're both in Texas, so we're pretty familiar with cicadas in Texas. Now, where
Yeah.
I'm originally from in Massachusetts, not so much. There's not really a whole lot of them up there. But
Yeah.
I want to kind of talk a little bit to our audience about what a periodical cicada is, and why this is kind of a really cool event that's going on right now. Equally as rare, by the way, as the eclipse that we recently talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Hmm.
The periodical cicadas are just like regular cicadas, except they're not. And I know, crazy. But the main difference between them is a periodical cicada actually lives underground. They are an underground creature, and then every so often they are released out into the world, and you get millions and billions of these creatures. Well, these periodical cicadas live in what's called a brood, and there are different broods across the country. And for some reason, they release at different times. So they have like 14-year broods and 17-year broods. And then every couple hundred or couple thousand years, these two dates will match up, and the 14-year brood and the 17-year brood are released out into the world. And then the rest of the world is so happy about it.
Like the plague.
It is, and you know, a group. I think a group of cicadas is called a plague. I could be wrong.
Is it?
I think it is. I think it is.
I mean, that would make sense.
So the simultaneous appearance of the two cicada broods that are releasing this year, which are known as brood number 19 and brood number 13, is a rare event. This has not happened since 1803. 1803 is the last time that both of these broods appeared at the same time. Just to give that context, Thomas Jefferson was president the last time this happened. Crazy stuff.
It's pretty wild.
It
is. Pretty wild.
Now, the thing is there are thousands of species of these cicadas around the world, but only 10 of these species are considered periodical. Which again means that it has a life cycle that involves basically the juveniles live underground. And they feed on plant sap from the roots of trees and things like that. And then when they become adults, they go out into the world, and I guess the reason for this is because they're breeding. They became adults, and now it's time to die.
Do you hear that?
Is that your dog?
That's the plague.
So what's your dog doing?
Yes, it's my dog. He's so needy. He's like a freaking child. I mean, he doesn't even need anything. He has food. He has water. He just got let in from outside. He's just being a bud.
So what's cool about this is there will be trillions of cicadas. Trillions.
I saw that.
Trillions.
Like, in my little brain that loves horror movies and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I want to look up at the sky and just see like swarm of them, but at the same time, that's terrifying.
Now, I don't think this is going to occur very much here, though. This is apparently from Maryland to Oklahoma, from Illinois to Alabama is what they're saying. So there might be some crossover effect here in Northeast Texas. I doubt it, though.
Oh.
But apparently the biggest thing that this is going to create more than anything, it's going to create some fear and amongst people and things like that. My mom, for example, is terrified of Junebugs, so I'm sure this would not...
I don't mess with Junebugs. Cicadas don't bother me. I just don't want one like in my hair.
So
that's it.
You're more afraid of Junebugs than cicadas?
Yes.
Okay, we'll unpack that in a minute. Hold that thought.
I don't know why, but yes.
But the biggest thing, other than fear, is this is going to create food for hundreds of species of creatures across the United States. Just in trillions of these little cicada bodies turn into food. That's what they are. They're going to create food for all of these other animals. And they're saying that's a good thing. Apparently there are endangered and protected species that are going
cicadas?
that not the cicadas, but the cicadas will be feeding the endangered species.
Gotcha.
And will perhaps help some of those species out. This is just a natural thing that happens every 14 or 17 years. Now, what I think is really funny is some of the mottos or whatever that the phenomenon is coming up with. People are coming up with catchphrases like "Cicada-geddon" is one that I heard, and "Cicada Palooza." Like, it makes me think that we're gonna go to like some rock concert and like there's just gonna be a bunch of these periodical cicadas. Like, and I was even thinking too, Periodical Cicada, we should put them on tour with Path of Totality.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
We're coming up with the perfect tour.
Perfect lineup. Yeah.
That's right. Path of Totality, Periodical Cicada. What else can we come up with this show? So what's the deal with Junebugs, Katie Lynn? I gotta know.
I don't know, man. It's just cicadas. They're green. Green's a pretty color, aren't right? And they're kind of like a greenish color. They got little. They don't look creepy. They just don't look as creepy as Junebugs. Junebugs, they're little leg. Get away from here. And they're always like. That's the problem. Cicadas, you don't hear about cicadas flying in your hair, all up in your clothes or some crap like that. You hear about that with Junebugs. Junebugs are always going after people. I don't mess with that.
Not only that, but Junebugs are always extremely early, right? They usually come out in March, and that's not fair. Like, we're supposed to be only worried about these guys in June, and they're here from March to September, and that doesn't seem fair to me.
No.
Not to mention, I think the thing that bothers me the most about Junebugs is they are suicidal.
You're right, though.
They are extremely suicidal. Like, they can't leave you alone, and it's like their curiosity involves like hitting your forehead with as much speed as possible.
Yeah, right? Poking the bear.
Yeah. Like, and they hit you so hard, it's like these little bastards have football helmets on.
No, it actually hurts.
Yeah. It does. And then if you have hair, God forbid, these little, like, they have, like...
They're little things.
Yes! They get stuck in your hair, and then they're trying to fly out, and, like, no.
You can't get it out. Even if you're, like, pulling on it, it's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
They have Gorilla Glue on their appendages.
Yeah.
And that Gorilla Glue only works on human hair. I'm here to tell you. Because they don't get stuck on anything else.
I wonder how, like, every other animal in the animal kingdom feels about Junebugs. Or, like, the insect kingdom, too. I wonder how they all feel. Like, is he the outcast?
I don't know. But, I mean...
Like, do we all hate the Junebug?
Well, my question is, and this is another one that maybe somebody out there can answer, right? So in the northern hemisphere where Katie and I live, it is summer during the summer, right? It's the summer months are like June, July, August, right? But then in the southern hemisphere, the summer months are flipped.
Mm-hmm.
So like summer in Australia, for example, is like December, January, and February.
That's so bizarre.
So my question is, do the Junebugs have a different name down there? Like, are they November bugs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, November bugs. God damn, why be November bugs? God, that was a horrible Australian accent, but...
They would come out in November instead of December, wouldn't they?
Well, it would be, June is the sixth month, so I guess it would probably be more December bug would be more accurate. But
they're out for too long.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we should just take the month off of there and just call them Bug. Like, they're just like the prince of bugs. The Bug. The bug formerly known as the Junebug.
That's a new horror movie.
All right, so we did talk about the Periodical Cicadas. This is not a like grunge bluegrass band. This is a real thing. You guys should check it out. Again, they're basically just cicadas that live underground until they're adults. Then they're blown out into the world like bats from a cave because they're adults and they're it's like, graduating from college and then they're out in the world and then they die, like, immediately. And now they're just feeding in
natural selection.
Right. It's like their whole life is underground eating tree sap and plant sap, and then they finally get out into the world and they're so excited. Imagine if that's the way it was, right? Like, you just finally get out of your parents' care and now you're just dead. All right.
Why you should have stayed home.
So I'm going to turn this over to Katie Lynn. This is her first topic that she's introduced to the show, and this is about the Met Gala. What say you,
So,
Canyon?
okay, so I originally brought this up because what I saw that you told me I was wrong, but I thought it was hilarious, but it's still kind of hilarious. So, Kathy Griffin, I saw a whole bunch of like places where she got kicked out. No, that didn't happen. What really happened is worse. It's worse. She was not invited, never got an invite, still showed up, and they had to escort her out.
Okay, so hold on. So what I read said that that whole situation is not true.
No,
Like that
none
she
of
didn't
it.
even show up. They didn't like none of that happened according to what I
None of
read.
it.
None of it.
I thought the one you sent me it said that she showed up and they had to that
No,
she wasn't
that
invited.
was the original story that they were researching, and that's the
Oh.
original story that they were calling fake news. So
Okay,
the
I have another topic that's going to lead into our other topic here in a second about the Met.
okay.
But now that I'm thinking about it, but okay, so you know, we you kind of I had a couple like little questions and stuff, and I do kind of think that it is a little bit insensitive. That to be fair, they raised so much money. They raised $26 million, which is $4 million more than last year. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Right.
But at the same time, that's probably like I don't know the equivalent of like 20 celebrities' outfits.
But do you know where that money's going?
I do not.
So
That's also a question.
the money goes to essentially the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It
Hmm.
goes directly to their costume department.
Okay.
So it's from what I understand, and maybe somebody out there can again correct us because I am not well versed in the Met Gala.
Uh huh.
But from what I understand, it goes to celebrate. The money goes to the Costume Institute, which is a division of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Um, so, from what I understand, $26 million goes to the Costume Institute. Let me see here what that means. What is the Costume Institute? Isn't the internet a good thing sometimes?
Sometimes, most of the time, it lies to you.
So essentially, it's a museum of fashion. It's their fashion division at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Costume Institute's collection of more than 33,000 objects represents 7 centuries of fashionable dress and accessories for men, women, and children from the 15th century to the present. So essentially, um, this gala goes to bankroll a museum on fashion, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great. $26 million. That's really cool. Now I have to keep in mind, or I have to reiterate, that the Museum of Art, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, is in New York City, and New York City has the second most homeless people in the country. So 26 million for the fashion museum when there's probably people literally living on the steps of the museum outside. You know,
Yeah.
probably not
That's
a great look.
r- 4 more million than last year.
4 more million than last year. And I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you if it's a bad look for celebrities to do things like this. Like, I
I
mean, because
I
it is considered charity, right? It is a 501c or 50 whatever it is.
Yeah. Um I mean, I don't think so. Just cuz like it's this huge event. I blame the people that, are in charge of it, but I mean, it's a status thing at this point. Like if you don't go, like it's a marketing thing for yourself. Like if you're a huge celebrity and you don't go, that you're missing out on a lot, you know? But at the same time, like, mm,
I don't know. It would seem to me that the smart way around this would be, and maybe they're doing this and I just didn't see. Maybe somebody again can correct me, but it would seem to me that if you're wanting to raise money for your foundation, which is essentially what this is, it's a foundation that's basically running a museum, which is fine. That's completely legal to do that. Um,
mhm.
but perhaps it would be a better look not just for the museum or the charity
But
in
to
this
donate,
case,
yeah,
but also for the celebrities to perhaps make it so a percentage of whatever they raise goes to help
yeah,
um, local institutions like homeless places or soup kitchens or whatever needs the help. Food pantries. Like, I mean, I wasn't planning to say her name, but like Taylor Swift is a good example of this. Every single town that the Eras tour came to, she donated money to a local shelter or soup kitchen or food pantry wherever she was, and that was all around the world. This actually happened. I don't know how much total she has donated, but I know that it's in the millions. There was one
hmm
place, I think in Denver, when she was there, that she legitimately kept the food pantry from going out of business with her donation. And it would seem to me it would be very easy for something like this where they raise 26 million, where why not give 10% of that to something that's struggling locally? Then, everyday people like yourself and myself would not feel so jaded about whether we should celebrate fashion.
yeah,
Because I want to celebrate
absolutely.
this. I think it's a great idea. I love the idea that they're raising money. That's awesome. It gives our rich celebrities and stuff like that something to do other than taking, submarines down to the frickin' bottom of the ocean. But there's going to be a way to spread the good out a little bit more too to people that
Yeah,
actually need the good. 10% of that is less than what they would have is less than the increase, right? So they increased their total by 4 million. 10% of what they raised is 2.6 million. They could have
yeah.
literally donated the difference in what they made last year and this year. And
hmm
I don't know if they did that or are doing that, but if not, they should be, I think.
I agree.
So did you see any crazy outfits that were notable to you?
Okay, Kim K looks stupid. Um, that's just number one. Two, Zendaya, Queen, Goddess. It was giving Alice in Wonderland, but even though it was like Sleeping Beauty, which was kind of little off topic, but gorgeous. The purple and the greens, and then Lana Del Rey. I don't know if you saw hers, but she had like horns, like deer antlers, and then she had like this cloth, like sheer cloth draped over. It's pretty cool. And then Cardi B was insane.
So to you, do you think it's crazy? Like, because I know a lot of traditional folks will look at like, do you remember Bjork?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah, probably before your
I
time. But
do, but don't.
Bjork was kind of my generation's Lady Gaga. Let's put it that way. I think
Yeah.
is the best way to look at it. But like, do you, as a younger person, do you look at that kind of crazy fashion as, wow, that's pretty cool, or are you just like, okay, that's a little bit too much, or is there
It
both of that in
depends.
there? Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends. Because it can, oh my god. I'll watch like these stupid fashion shows, and a lot of times it's just like, what is even happening? I know there I saw one and it was like these people like in straight bubbles, like in just straight like bubbles and like inflatables and stuff. Like all that a little much, way much. But like the Met Gala and people go a little too far into the weird stuff, but for a majority, everyone looks fabulous. And Zendaya, I think she had a good like balance between like the like mythical, cool, like weird part of it and still like fashionable.
I would think, as from a celebrity standpoint, it would be very risky to do something like
hmm
that, right? Because, like,
Yeah.
I guess I guess when you are famous, you're not necessarily after fame or fortune, but really what you're after is relevancy, right?
Status, yeah.
It's really important to stay relevant. So, like, for me, it would be like, okay, do I want to take a risk here and become relevant in the wrong kind of way? Like, all of a sudden, like, I'm this great actor or something, but, like, nobody remembers me for that. They remember me for something that I wore at the Met Gala one year, you know?
Yeah. See, and I would freak out. Man, as soon as it's over this year, I'm freaking out about next year. And I need to know what the topic is ASAP. I because that can literally like make or break you. Like you'll see like these cute like Kim Kardashian, she didn't look awful. She just was like she was wearing like this little shawl and it's like she just took her boyfriend's jacket and just she didn't look like she was supposed to be at the Met Gala at all.
So, like,
And she's probably gonna get and it's Kim K and she that there's gonna be memes about that for months. Months.
and she don't care. I'd be
No.
very surprised if she gave two
No,
iotas.
but I'm saying, just like even Kim K is going to be getting crap about it for months. Like, imagine, ooh, I'd be freaking out,
And that's what I'm
freaking out.
saying. Like, why would you even, like, why would you even submit yourself to that? Like,
Because man, if you can come out and just blow everyone away, you're man,
and then you're on the news for a little while,
yeah.
and
I
it's
mean,
all about the
I would just
relevancy.
be like, I wouldn't even care. I'd just be like, yep, I'm best dressed.
Just come out with the
I don't care about
confidence.
status. I'm like, I look the best.
So, all right, on to the next. You got anything else on the Met Gala?
Nah. Let's move on. Oh, yes. Okay, so like I said, there was a bunch of like articles about the Kathy Griffin thing, which wasn't real. There was a bunch of AI pictures of people at the Met Gala, like that were just so fake. But people were like, I saw one, and I was like, I don't remember who it was of, but it was just beautiful, and I was like, oh my god, that's gorgeous. Anyway, AI is getting out of control with AI.
Yep. So we're moving on. See, Katie's learning the art of segueism. So with AI, we this is a subject that was broached by us last episode, and you guys are probably going to get really tired of hearing us talk about AI, but
But
it's
then, literally the next day,
literally the day after we recorded, right? And I
uh,
want to say, like, we recorded Tuesday night, and it was like Wednesday
it was
afternoon.
Wednesday. For
Yes.
real, it was like
So
that.
here is the news of the Wednesday following our last recording, and we had to wait 2 weeks to talk about this, and everybody else has already got their opinions and stuff, but y'all haven't got our opinion yet, and
You're
you're
gonna hear
about
our
to get
2 cents.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about Johnny Cash and the Cash estate's usage of AI to produce. Well, let me change that. They're not specifically using AI, supposedly, to produce the new Johnny Cash stuff. AI is not being used in that context. But Katie and I were speculating on how AI would be used in that instance where someone has passed away and whatever. And then the very next day, we hear on the news that somebody who's still with us but does not have his voice anymore. By the way, golden, iconic voice, by the way, has made a new song using AI and openly admitting to AI. We're talking about Randy Travis, of course, one of the most iconic voices in music history. Damn sure, probably the most iconic voice, other than maybe Dolly and Willie in country music. Like, you hear Randy Travis, you know it's Randy Travis.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, Randy Travis, I want to say about 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, had a stroke. And as part of that stroke, which he wasn't supposed to survive from, by the way, but he did, he has lost his ability to vocalize or speak. He can speak in very short bursts, but basically doctors have said that he will never perform again and what have you.
Yeah.
So I want to read a little bit about this. An American country music star, I'm reading this from VOA News. American country music star has used artificial intelligence to make music again years after suffering a stroke. Now, Randy Travis is 65 years old. He was obviously a popular country music performer in the 80s and 90s. He's won several Grammy Awards during his career. It was 2013 when he had the stroke, so I was right about 10, 11, 12 years ago. He had a heart problem which led to the stroke, and the stroke made it hard for Travis to speak, and he has not made music since his stroke until now. On May 3rd, which again was the day after we recorded, Travis released a new song with the help of artificial intelligence. I'll include that song in the description below so you guys can go take a listen if you would like to. I know Katie's probably listened to it. We'll talk about that in a minute. The song itself is called Where That Came From, and it was written by songwriters Scotty Emmerich and John Scott Sherrill. Again, if you're a song nerd like Katie and I, you saw Katie perk up. She knows who we're talking about. Scotty Emmerich, for example, was Toby Keith's longtime songwriting partner. So they wrote the song, and then James Dupree is the gentleman that had his voice used for the AI program. And the way this worked is the person who decided to produce this talked with computer programmers in London about making an AI system that could recreate Randy Travis's famous voice. They produced two models. One model used 12 vocal samples from Randy's career, and the other one used 42 samples. So they used 54 total samples, which gave them a lot of sampling material to work with. And they used a lot of the samples came from the first record too, from 1985, which was called Storms of Life, one of the best country records ever, by the way. Now, his longtime producer is the one that's producing the record. This is not like a bunch of people, in my opinion, that's just trying to make money off of Randy Travis. This is literally his people, his band, his everything is what's putting this together. Let's see here. Now, Kyle Lenning is the longtime music producer. Talked a little bit about the process of making the song. Basically, another singer recorded the song in what is known as a demo. We're well familiar with demos. So James Dupree is the singer on the demo. And then the AI system, which these programmers from London designed, analyzes the song, or the demo in this case, and then basically applies Randy Travis's voice over the top of it. And so now basically what you end up with is a Randy Travis song, basically, with James Dupree singing harmony, is what it sounds like. So that's kind of the technical aspect to it. Katie, you've heard the song. What's your opinion on it?
I mean, it's okay. It's weird being 2024, you know? But regardless of that, okay. So he can consent. I hope that he consented to this, but he is alive. He can consent.
So he did. He did consent.
Uh-huh. So that changes the whole kind of, I forgot Johnny Cash.
It was Johnny Cash. You know, yep.
Yeah, because that's a different story. He's passed. That's kind of a different thing. But with Randy, my dad had a stroke, and like he played guitar forever and he couldn't use his hand. Mm-hmm. So I know, completely different story, but I know, like, you lose a lot of things that you love to do.
But your dad was all there. He was all there mentally, yeah. So he could make decisions about his well-being, exactly. Or whatever, legal decisions. Which, from what I understand, even though Randy Travis cannot vocalize that great, he is all there, according to reports. Yeah. He is mentally present. So
right.
From a legal standpoint, he can give his consent on this.
I wonder how he feels about it. I bet he thinks it's like really cool, you know, because he's able to kind of do what he wants. But at the same time, like, it's really, I would find it sad because, like, it's your creation, but you can't.
But see, that's the thing. It's really technically not
Uh,
his creation.
yeah, but
The
like,
song is written by somebody else, and I mean, many of his songs throughout his career were songs that were written by other people.
mhm,
And he just I say he just put his voice on it, but I mean, it's obviously more than that. I mean, his voice is
yeah,
the voice. I mean, we talked about Matt James being the voice last week.
yeah,
Randy Travis is the voice. Like, when it comes to country music, you know it's him. So
hmm,
I don't want to diminish what his role is in making music just because he didn't write the song or whatever. It is his
right,
voice. But in this instance, I would say it's probably on, as long as the songwriters are cool with it, which obviously they're going to be.
hmm,
You asked how Randy would feel. I would imagine if I was in his shoes, I would be excited.
hmm,
Because here it is. It's 11 years since I'm basically not supposed to be here. You got a bonus life, and prior to your bonus life, your entire life was music.
hmm.
And then your bonus life has none of that in it. You're not able to do it. You're not able to sing. You're not able to play. None of that. So I imagine this is probably really exciting to him.
Yeah.
It would be like if your dad could pick up a guitar again all of a sudden and play
Hmm.
again. Imagine how excited he. Do you think he would be sad?
No, not at all. I think that's no. I'm just saying I would be not sad. I would just wish I could be more involved
Right.
in the process.
So you
Would be
would
my
still
thing.
be
Kind of like a bittersweet thing.
you would still be wishing that you could do more.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I
I
could see
would
that. I could see that.
personally. Yeah,
For me,
but
when I heard the song, it's obviously Randy Travis. I mean, you can put his name on it. The voice sounds like Randy Travis. It sounds like a Randy Travis song.
hmm,
But for me, man, this is going to get some comments. I think I'm a huge Randy Travis fan, so this is going to be hard for me to say. But it felt to me like the soul was missing from the song. I don't know how better to describe it.
so here's the thing with AI. AI is a robot. Robots are perfect. They're gonna make everything perfect. Here's the thing with a human. Nothing's perfect. You can have the beautiful perfect sounds, which is everyone, wants to be on pitch and have perfect. But the imperfections in people's voices or their tone or any little thing like that makes them that person and makes them that sound and gives you that magical like spark
Yep.
in their voice. When you just generate that, it takes it out of it. Yeah, it sounds great. It's to the T, on pitch, on point, everything's great. But it takes the feeling out, the soul.
Yeah, it was definitely missing that human connection for me. And so for me, then as an analytical mind that I am, I start wondering, well, is that a placebo effect on my part because I know that it's AI generated.
That is true.
So for example, if you had sent me that song and said, "Hey, listen to this Randy Travis song from his college days before he was famous," and you tried to sell it to me in that way, would I still feel like the soul was missing from it? You
I
know,
feel like that would be easier to sell like in like pop music because it's more produced to be like perfect, like
yeah,
that kind of stuff. But like country tends, well, especially like Randy Travis, it tends to be more raw, which I think is why it feels so lackey.
yep.
But but I do think that is a major part of it is you're missing the imperfections
I
because
just I wish
that's
I
what
could have
makes
I wish I could have listened to the song without having any other information
yeah,
about it because I don't feel like I can give it a proper review when I know that AI generated the song.
yeah,
It's hard for me in that aspect, but I'm extremely happy for Randy and his wife.
and
I
too.
I have not had the opportunity to meet Randy and Mary Travis yet. I have been in the same room as those two people, though. I can say that. Woot woot. I can say that. We were at the TRRR Awards a few years ago, and he was kind of a surprise. Nobody expected him to be there. And then he was just there. There he was, like, holy crap, it's Randy Travis. Um, I don't want to go too far into the AI wormhole again, but this is I think this is
It's
going to
gonna
be
be an every episode thing.
yeah, I think this is something that we're going to have to talk about because it's part of our folklore now. It's like part of if you're in the music business, this is something that's being talked about a lot.
It's
Um,
scary, kind
so we talk about Johnny Cash. Again,
of.
I want to reiterate, I am not suggesting that AI was used in the recording or production of Johnny Cash's new music because I don't believe it was. We are
Mm-hmm.
just trying to make a connection between the use of AI and somebody's estate who is no longer here. And is
Mm-hmm.
that allowed? Should it be allowed? And if it's not allowed, how do we regulate it? Because
Yeah.
creativity and art always has to have some kind of regulation to make sure that the people that are creating are getting their due course. That's
Mm-hmm.
important. Um, but right now, it is completely legal for some kid in his basement in Buffalo, New York, to pull a bunch of samples from, say, Jimi Hendrix and then come up with a story and just implement it into AI, or not necessarily a story, but a topic or a subject or something to write a song about, and then overlay Jimi Hendrix's voice and his guitar playing and all that onto that song. And that's completely legal, and Jimi Hendrix's estate has no say in that.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a way to police that. I don't know what it is.
Absolutely.
I've racked my brain. I'm not sure what we can do because we are still at the point in time where artists are legitimately getting raked over the coals still by these streaming companies where
Mm-hmm.
literally if you bought a single for 99 cents from somebody on iTunes, it would be the same as I think like 500,000 streams or something. Like 500,000 streams is the same price as buying a single for $1.
Yep.
It's 2024. That doesn't seem fair.
No.
It's not fair. It's not fair. But my point is we haven't figured that out yet to where it's fair for artists, and yet here we are with another
No,
debilitating.
doggy style. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do if you're in charge, Katie? What things do you think could be implemented to protect artists such as yourself?
Um, I mean, AI, I think we're too early on to say. I think there's so much like left still unknown. But I mean, I believe regardless there should be consent, whether from the artist or the artist's family, something of the sort. But man, it's gonna be it I know I've me and Jackson go down a loophole with this, and we've heard like some people like just releasing like AI music, like, and it's becoming so popular, and like people don't even know it's AI. I believe that should be labeled first of all, so that you're like, I believe a person should be credited for being a person and having their own creativity and not being a robot, for one. But I mean, I don't know what you can do about it without,
It's so hard because of evidence, right? Like
yeah.
anytime
And
you
it's still expression of some sort. Like even though it's generated and everything, like you're coming up with the topic, it still it's a tricky
it's still somebody
thing.
creating something,
Something.
right?
Yeah.
So you remember back in the day, maybe you don't. You're still a youngin, but for me, back in the day, um, rap artists would use samples,
Yeah.
and so they would take a sample. One that comes to mind straight off my head, I can't remember the artist. I want to say Jay-Z. Is he the one that did Hard Knock Life? It's a hard knock life.
I think so.
I think that was Jay-Z.
I think so.
I'm going to
I
look it
think
up
so.
just so I'm accurate about it. So, yes, it was Jay-Z. Hard Knock Life. They used a sample from Annie. Obviously, it's a
Mhm.
hard knock life. That's a sample. And back in the day, before this was regulated, the original artist of Annie would not get any credit whatsoever
Yep.
in that song. The way it was prior to the laws being changed and making it so that anybody who is sampled on a song gets credit for the writing of the new song.
Absolutely.
And so I think of Jay-Z. There was Vanilla Ice had.
Dun, 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 dun.
Mm-hmm. So that
Yeah.
was a sample that he got from Jay and the Americans. I think. I think is.
What?
Yeah, I think so.
Queen and Bowie.
It might. Was it Under Pressure? It was Under Pressure. What? Yeah, that's what it was. But that's the point I'm making is prior to the law being changed, those types of samples would not credit the original artist that wrote the sample. And then so somebody like Vanilla Ice, before the laws were changed, could just take that sample, make a completely new song around that sample, and then he is the one that gets paid for it prior to the laws being changed. So a lot of people didn't think that was a cool thing. And now sampling is being done so often that you as a consumer don't even realize that a song is being sampled within another song unless you're told that the song is being sampled in the other song. That's how often it's being done. It used to be illegal, right? They couldn't,
I, I like, okay, like in the Jay-Z thing, that's cool. When you get to like the Vanilla Ice thing, or like just when you're sampling and it's like, first of all, that's a big generation difference. You know,
Yep.
they don't know what that is. I do think that it feels kind of like a payoff thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I'm gonna do all this. Everyone's gonna think I'm really cool, but I'll pay you off on the side.
Well, that's how it
Like,
used to work too. Is I mean, you've hit on a good point. The point being that is an artist from say 2018 would find a beat or something from 1974 that they
and
like,
no one would ever know.
super
Yeah.
obscure. Oh man, listen to this deep cut I found on a record by this nobody that nobody ever heard of. We're gonna put this into this song and we're gonna sample it. We're gonna make a new record of it, and nobody will know the difference. That was
Yep.
happening a whole lot, like a
Oh
whole
yeah.
lot. Um,
Because until someone notices, or hey,
that's right. And
no one knows, no one cares.
as long as no one notices, it's cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is there are more people now that are the way the industry has changed. There are more people that are protecting themselves with lawyers and accountants and all of that stuff,
Absolutely.
trademark attorneys, copyright attorneys, and you have to protect yourself. Even that person that's obscure from the 1974, they might have an attorney. Their estate might be listening. You just never
Yeah.
know, and that's the risk you take if you try to cheat. But there has to
Mhm.
be some way to protect somebody's likeness or ability beyond just a copyright or a trademark when it comes to AI.
Right.
And I think the industry is really gonna struggle with this because courtrooms need evidence, right? Not just
Yep.
conjecture. You can't just go into a courtroom and say, "Oh, this person used my song to use AI to create their song," and how are you going to prove that they used your voice in AI?
Yep.
Like this, I don't know how this is scary if you're in
It
the
is.
music industry. I'm not sure how you fight this.
It's scary in every single aspect, but obviously music is people don't realize it. It is such a huge thing in the world, in everyone's life. Music has so much to do with everyone. Even if people are like, I don't listen to music that much, it's still a big part of people's life. And this kind of thing right here can literally not ruin, but for me, ruin all of music. Easy. Like, just give it, like, maybe 20 years or so, and then we have no artists because it's all AI, and you can't beat perfection, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's where I think that in a nutshell is what everybody is so afraid of.
Yeah.
Is just if you are a creative person, does that mean now instead of picking up a guitar and creating a song with your guitar or your piano or whatever it is that your instrument of choice is, does that mean now you just go to your PC
Yeah.
and just implement whatever chords you want and whatever melodies you want? And does that mean everything in the future is going to be down to mathematics instead of having the soul in it?
Yeah.
You know,
I really hope not. I really hope that the human race will always want its humanity, but we'll see.
I think the hard part is I think most consumers, if they
Don't
knew,
know and don't care.
I think don't know is true. I think there's a lot of us that do care. I think a lot of us
Yeah.
would prefer, I think a lot of us would not listen to a song if we knew it was AI generated,
Yeah.
unless we knew the backstory
Hmm.
from however it was conceived, like it is here with Randy Travis, right? Like we know the backstory of how it was conceived, why it was conceived. It's because Randy Travis doesn't have a voice. This is his chance to put more music out into the world with his voice on it. Again,
Yeah.
he didn't write the song, he didn't form the words, but it's his voice. It's his samples that were used,
Yeah.
and the backstory is there. Everybody was very transparent with this, and the fear is the lack of transparency that's going to be in this realm in the future.
And
Because,
there already is so much,
of
like
course,
within the media, like we
yeah,
were talking about.
mm-hmm.
There already is so much of it.
Yep, yep. It's sad. It's scary, and I'm sure we're going to find some smart attorneys out there will figure out how to regulate it,
Yeah.
and
I hope
hopefully
so.
it will benefit the artist more than it does the person that's just trying to sample the music. Because I remember, again, back in the day when all this sampling was happening and everybody was so vicious against artists that were using samples. Like, use your own stuff, create your own thing. But now, as a music fan and a consumer, I think of all the music that has happened because sampling was regulated and allowed.
Yeah.
So much cool things that were made better. Like
Yeah.
how many songs out there have sampled, for example, Bohemian Rhapsody. You know,
Hmm.
sampling every day on TikTok. Like there's just so much of that, and it's nice to know that if you hear a version of Bohemian Rhapsody on TikTok or wherever, it's nice to know that whatever revenue is generated from me consuming that is going to the artist. It's nice to know that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
we have to get to the point where AI is also doing the same thing, and it's benefiting the people that's being I don't want to say abused, but used is probably the right word.
Used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I think we're on the same page. As long as the person or people that are being replicated by AI are on board and part of it, I think we're okay with it, you and I.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Cash, obviously, they're not using AI. I can't reiterate that enough. But if somebody like Elvis or Jimi Hendrix or Patsy Cline or any dead artist were to create a new song using AI through that artist's estate, then I think I would be okay with that as well.
Hmm.
Um, but then that's where you start with your gray area on stuff like, is it a money grab and should we support it and all of those things. I think Randy Travis is a really interesting case. I don't think there's
Yeah,
going to be
absolutely.
too many others like it.
Agreed.
So let's talk about something else. We're going to keep segueing into new topics. This one is also got a lot of artists, touring artists especially,
Riled up.
very riled up, and rightfully so. This is absolute
Absolutely.
bullshit. By the way, first
Mhm.
cuss word of the podcast. I'm sorry, but this is absolute BS.
Absolutely.
There are venues across the world, music venues,
A lot.
a lot of music venues. I need to get this up on my screen because I guarantee there's a lot of music fans that are going to watch the show and they're not going to be aware of what is happening. And oh my God, guys.
Once you are aware, if people, okay, if there was like on the news, CNN, it was just announced, there'd be riots everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine.
Yep.
Anyway, what we're talking about is.
Merch cuts.
Yep.
That's right. So, for as long as I've been associated with music, which has not been that long, less than 10 years, or about 10 years, one person that I met along my travels, this guy named Uncle Dallas. It's backwards, I know, but Uncle Dallas.
No, it's right on my end.
It's right. It's right on her end, but in the OBS, it's not. It's fine though. But anyway, Uncle Dallas was a local musician from the 903 East Texas area. Legendary, iconic, unbelievable dude. Mentored a whole lot of the folks from this area, including Little Texas and Pantera and the Abbott Brothers. And oh, Lord, the list goes on and on and on. And one of the first things Uncle Dallas ever said to me when I met him for the first time was, in 1971, I was making $100 a night playing music at a club. And in 2014, or whenever it was that he said this to me, he was still making $100 a night as a musician at a venue in Texas. 40 years difference, and these musicians were still making $100 a head. And I haven't been a booking agent in about 6 years or so, 7 years or so. But in 2017, when I was a booking agent, I can tell you that venues would fight me as much as they could to not ever pay $100 a head. I mean, literally, we would have to fight for $100 a head in 2017. And this is the same amount that Uncle Dallas was making in 1971.
Yep.
I say all of that because that is a fact of life when it comes to a musician in 2024. I imagine y'all are probably making a little bit more, probably $150 a head now would be my guess, if you're lucky. But it's still in the same ballpark as the early 70s. And that's why I start this topic with the word bullshit, because now the venues not only don't want to pay what I call market price for a musician, which honestly should be a lot higher than 100, 150 a head. But now, for the artists that for the artists that are successful enough to have their own merch, which is very freaking difficult, by the way. It's a lot of money to supply your own merch. You wonder why a hat is $25 or a shirt is $40 or whatever. It's because that's the only way they can make money off of them.
Yep.
That's also why you see a lot of artists that don't carry merch. It's just because it's not worth it to them to have merch. And now, venues, for some reason, think that they have a right to a cut of an artist's merch table if they perform at that venue. Go ahead, Katie.
Here's my 2 cents in a nutshell. You want percentage of my merch? You give me percentage of that bar. How about that?
Yep. That's
how I
exactly.
feel.
It's so funny. I have that written here. Should venues be able to require this, and can't artists just boycott those venues that require a cut? That's the first thing. should venues that do require merch cuts, should they give a beer cut to the band? Seems only fair, right?
Or just not do either.
Over time, and I know Kadie will agree with me on this. She is an artist. I am not an artist, but I have represented artists in the past. I have booked for them. I have managed artists. I have dealt with venues, and I have dealt with bands, and I have dealt with drummers and bassists and vocalists and publicists and all of these things. And there's always, in my experience, been a kind of a inner turmoil, inner tug of war between the artist and the venue. I don't know why this exists, but it does. I'll give you a couple of examples. Number one, the venue will always say, and Kadie, back me up on this, the venue will always say that it is the artist's responsibility to promote the show and fill the building. Yes or no?
Yep. Yep. And here's the thing. This is kind of where I was going to go to. I'm bringing my people in. Right. You can guarantee usually when you go to a show, you have like a few people that either always come to your shows or like your family or friends, you know, your band's friends, family, all that kind of stuff that usually come to your shows. So you can guarantee these people probably already have their shirts, their CDs, their hats, whatever you want. But they're probably buying alcohol or something to drink, something. They're buying something there. So even if we're not making money, you're making money guaranteed when somebody walks in that door.
Absolutely. Yep.
Me? Somebody has to like me.
Yeah.
Somebody walks in that door, you're automatically getting money.
Well, the fact of the matter is, it is not the artist's responsibility to promote a show. It is both.
This is your venue.
It is both of your responsibilities to promote a show. You have hired somebody to perform in your venue. It is their responsibility to promote the show. And it is your responsibility as the venue to also promote the show. Yeah. And there should not be any kind of argument over whose fault or credit it goes to for having a successful or not show. If Kadie Lynn is booked at a venue and that venue does well, I don't give Kadie Lynn the credit and I don't give the venue the credit. The fact of the matter is, both of them deserve credit for a good show. And if it's a bad show, same thing. The blame goes to both. It's Kadie's fault and it's the venue's fault. And here, instead of throwing, blame or credit or whatever at each other, let's try to figure out how to do better next time, right? Mm-hmm. We all have the capability of using social media to promote things. We all have word of mouth. But really, the way the music business should work on a small scale level, and what I mean by small scale is your dive, your restaurant, your coffee bar, your bar room, your pub, your honky-tonk, that kind of level. What you should be doing is you should be bringing in artists to perform for your regulars. And then you should also be bringing in artists that are going to bring people to your bar that have never been to your bar or venue before. And those are the artists that are going to have some notoriety. Now, the problem is not every single artist has notoriety. So you have to understand as a venue that you're either going to pay premium dollars for well-known acts all the time, in which case you're going to be having a budget of like $1,500 to $2,500 to pay for the band. And that's not going to work for a beer and wine bar, obviously. But if you brought, say, Kevin Fowler to a beer and wine bar, you're going to pack that sumbitch out and you're going to lose $1,000.
There are going to be people breaking the windows and just sitting outside.
Exactly. But the point I'm making is because you're in a dive, you're in a beer and wine dive that doesn't even sell liquor, you're not going to make any money off of Kevin Fowler. You're just not. Like, Kevin Fowler is a freaking legend, and he's going to pack out any single place you put him into. But you're going to have some kind of way of making money so you can pay for Kevin Fowler. And if you're only selling Budweiser long necks and setups, you're not going to find enough money to pay for Kevin Fowler or any of those kind of artists. And so there are venues out there that are doing it the right way and hiring well known and not well known because they understand I have to bring new people into my business in order to continuously grow. But at the same time, I need to keep my people entertained that are already here. They're already my regulars, and I know what style of music they like. So let's introduce my venue to new folks. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like if Katie Lynn ends up with a show in Nebraska, how many people that you know are going to show up? In Nebraska.
Whoever comes with me.
Right. So it might be your husband, your mom, a couple of people, whatever. But like some dude on the corner of Lincoln, Nebraska is not going to be like, oh my God, so-and-so is down the road tonight. Like, I know you do have some of that pull, by the way. Don't get me wrong. No. I know you still have some of that pull. But I'm just saying.
Not Nebraska.
You never know. Nebraska is very Katie Lynn friendly. I've heard.
Okay. I'll have to try it out someday.
So the way that I heard about this was from a phenomenal band called Clutch. And Clutch, do you know who Clutch is, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And so Clutch got booked at a venue. I'm not going to name the venue. They got booked at the venue, and the venue told them about this venue, this merch cut. And what Clutch did is they set up their fucking merch trailer outside the venue, and they sold merch from their trailer. Until the show started.
Bet. Okay, bet.
That's exactly what it was. Okay, bet. You're gonna take
what are you gonna do?
You're gonna take a merch cut? Okay. Kick me off this public road. Try to do it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what can you do?
So all I'm gonna say is, if you're a band and you sell merch, check your contracts if you have them.
Yep.
And if you don't have a contract, you probably should, because what's happening...
Or at least start asking.
Yeah, because these venues are pulling fast ones.
Yep.
One of my pet peeves is the whole playing for tips. Man, there's venues around here, and they'll probably never see my show, but why? No, just stop this shit.
Not okay.
Oh, we're looking for an artist to play on Friday night from 8 to 11 for tips. What?
Okay, so you're telling me there's going to be a bunch of rich people there, and they're all inclined to tip $20 a piece, right?
Absolutely not. Then that's the problem. Right. What they're trying to do is and this is typically restaurants. Again, I'm not going to name names, but it's typically a restaurant that will say we need an artist to play for tips.
No.
And then they come in, and the restaurant, I'm here to tell you, I've seen pictures.
There's no one there.
No. The opposite of that. The place is absolutely packed to the brim of people paying money for food. It's 2024, so like $18 a person now to eat, essentially.
Something like that, yeah.
So if me and my wife go out to a restaurant, I mean, drinks and food is probably going to be $60 at least.
Yep.
And your place is packed the entire time that this artist is singing. I don't care how much tips this musician gets.
And a lot of people don't tip.
I know they don't. Won't. No, you know why? Because they already think that the venue is paying for the frickin' entertainment. Exactly. So their mindset is why should I tip somebody if they're already being, they're already being compensated.
Yep.
So it doesn't fly for me. Like, the place is packed. Mm-hmm. How are you going to tell me you don't have the money to pay $200 for a solo artist to come in and entertain your peeps?
Because like you said, you go in there and you get you a nice dinner, say $40, $50.
Mm-hmm.
That's $50. That's 50 times 4 is 200.
And that's just that's what, 4 tables?
Mm-hmm.
You've paid for your artist with four tables.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Pet peeves, man, because I always hear, play for tips. Play for what is the word? Exposure.
Okay, well,
Play
you
for
guys,
exposure.
when we start making like waitresses and like bartenders start working for tips, let me know, and then we might have to
And see,
talk.
that's where the mindset comes from, and that's why it's typically restaurants that are the ones trying to do this, because
Mhm.
restaurants have had free labor for as long as restaurants have been in existence. You know, I
Mhm.
only have to pay my waitresses $1 an hour. I mean, this is legal in this country, or whatever it is, $1.50 an hour, and then
Yeah.
tips is whatever they're gonna make. So the restaurant
Mhm.
is literally getting free labor, in my opinion, and now they're trying to move that over to the entertainment side of it, and it pisses me off, man.
Pisses me off too. It's none of it's fair, and
I mean, for
I
me, it's
hope.
like, okay, I'll come in and play for tips the first time. We'll sign 2 shows,
Mhm.
right? We'll sign a contract, 2 shows. I will come in and do yours for tips, the first show,
Mhm.
and then the second show I will come in and play, and you pay me 15% of the door or
Mhm.
whatever the gate is. So, like if a couple spends $100 in drinks and eats, I get $15 of that. Every $100 you make while I'm performing, I get $15.
Mhm. Be racking up some money
And
right
so
there.
and then if the venue scoffs at that shit, then you know what they're trying to do. You know
Yep.
what their motivation is. They're just trying to get somebody to perform music in their bar for free.
Mhm.
I say,
It's really sad. Really, really sad.
and now this whole merch cut thing, man, I don't know. Kind of reminds me.
When
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I really hope, like with AI, that they find a way to regulate this kind of thing, and maybe even potentially make laws
Uh,
against that kind of.
it's just sad that we're still in this day and age, you know, that musicians and venues still have to fight each other. And it's two
Yeah.
fifteen an hour, by the way, $2.15 an hour to sling drinks and food. Yeah. Oh, come on in. We have a stage. Play for our frickin' peeps for tips. No. Mm-mm. I'll tell you what. You give me 20% as a tip first, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It would seem to me that the best way to fix this is if you're a musician, you come across a venue that is requiring a merch cut. I would not only tell that venue to um, basically F off, but then I would literally tell every single one of my followers about that venue trying to take my
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
And then,
Absolutely. I would warn all my musician friends and everything. Don't go there.
because I'm here to tell you right now, I don't care how popular your venue is. I don't care who you are, if you're Billy Bob's or Coachella or whatever venue you are. All of the musicians that you will be blacklisting because of merch cuts will
They got a
outnumber.
lot of money.
That's right. That's going to outnumber your following. I don't care how big of a venue you are. And I'll tell
When
you
you could
right
just pay
now,
us from the get go.
I guarantee you if Billy Bob started requiring a merch cut, Billy Bob's would get all kinds of bullshit from
Hmm.
multiple different directions. All right, that's venue merch cuts. A little bit of a sad thing. Um, we got a couple more topics to get through. One is kind of sad, and I did want to memorialize somebody this week, and that's something we'll be doing from time to time as artists and other prominent people pass away. We will definitely be talking about those people in kind of a tribute way. But Duane Eddy has passed away. First thing I want to know before we delve into who Duane Eddy was, how familiar were you with Duane Eddy prior to hearing about his passing?
Knew like who he was and that, back from like the 50s, 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Knew of and who he was, but not like, I know every single one of his songs and all that kind of thing.
So, if you're wondering who Duane Eddy was, I will build upon what Katie just said. Katie's a guitar player, so you should know more about Duane Eddy than you do. You are a guitar
Mhm.
player. Get that shit out of here. Okay, so Duane Eddy, who is most known for breaking new ground in pop music. I say pop music because rock and roll didn't exist yet when he was around.
Yep.
Imagine that. In pop music in the 50s, with a reverberant staccato style of guitar playing that became known as twang. So, if you've ever heard of the term twang guitar, Duane Eddy is the man that created that sound. Okay. You will hear it from the Rolling Stones. You will hear it from Bruce Springsteen, the Beatles, a
Jimi
bunch of other people,
Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. They were all influenced by this one man. I find it incredibly interesting that the reason why he created this style of twang guitar was because he did not like his singing voice.
Hey, I mean, musicians do some weird things to compensate. But hey, this worked out though.
Mm-hmm.
Some
For
really
him,
cool
absolutely.
technology. Yep.
So he passed away Tuesday. Well, this was written on May 1st, so it would have been the end of April. He was 86 years old, lived a great life. Again, it was cancer, so too much cancer going around.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I hate cancer. It's just taking too
I
many
do
of
too.
us. But man, I'll tell you what, when musicians pass away, it's always interesting to. This is what I find fun about social media. Really, is just watching so many people in real time, people of consequence, celebrities, that are able to almost make like a press announcement on their own social media when somebody passes away. It's always so cool to see who was influenced by somebody else, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's really cool like once you start like knowing what those influences are and you really stop and listen to their music, you can hear it. And it's just a really cool like domino effect.
It really is. It really is. And it's like I said, in the late 50s and early 60s, he incorporated that twang style of guitar, and then so many other artists heard this. It was revolutionary. Started putting it in their own music, and now all of a sudden, we no longer have pop music. Now
We
we
have
have
rock.
rock and roll. That's right. Duane Eddy, I'm here to tell you, is one of the most prominent figures in the creation of rock and roll. The man does not get near enough credit
Yep.
in the creation of rock, specifically rockabilly. Duane Eddy was a huge influence in rockabilly, which obviously created stars like Elvis and Johnny Cash and so many others, Chuck Berry,
Hmm.
and what, one of the things that I was reading on Duane Eddy, he was actually married to Jessie Coulter.
Really?
Yeah, I had no
I didn't know
idea.
that.
So yes, he was married to Jessie Coulter obviously prior to her remarrying Waylon Jennings later.
Yeah.
And so she was married to Duane Eddy from 62 to 68. And then this is what is so great about music. He actually he actually worked on a project with Waylon later when Waylon was married to his ex-wife.
Mm.
It's so great. Oh man, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, good for them for being adults.
Well, it's all about the money.
Oh yeah.
It's all about the
We can
money.
put that aside for the money.
That's right. That's right. We have to.
Yeah.
So cool thing about Duane Eddy is he's not only a rock and roll Hall of Famer, um, but what was the other thing? I want to say he's in the Musicians Hall of Fame too, which is huge.
Yeah.
I think that's even bigger than the Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Hall of
I,
Fame.
I, absolutely.
So, do you know what twang guitar is? Because I don't.
I don't. I've heard, but you make fun of me when I go. I really don't. I know what I know, but I learned and like by friends. Like I never had like like somebody sit down and talk to me about theory and stuff like this, like in terms for everything. So I know a lot. I just don't know what it is a
So
lot of times.
I know when
Figure it
you
out.
were younger, um, you had coaches for everything. I remember you had.
Oh, that's for for vocals. Really, it's just for like guitar. Like I learned the basics and everything, and I just started
So I mean, how much of your guitar ability would you say is self taught?
uh most. The theory and all that kind of stuff was obviously learned and picked up. Like I would, but I never like had like sit down like every like guitar lessons where we sit down every week and go over theory and scales and majors, minors, all this kind of stuff. I figured out a lot of that myself, and a lot playing by ear. I would find like weird augmented chords and stuff just because they sound cool and I never knew what they were. But oh, that's the major seventh or whatever, and like they were like, oh, that sounds so good when you play them, whatever. And I'm like, oh, thanks,
It's
thanks.
funny
Yeah,
when musicians start talking about chords and notes
see, I
and
don't even know what that.
yeah, for me it's like listening to a mechanic talk about like car parts.
Yeah,
Like I know nothing. Like I'm
I know
just
the basics. I know the basics.
so I learned something in interviewing. Right, one thing
Uh-huh.
you have to do as an interviewer, if the person you are interviewing is talking about stuff that you don't know anything about, all you
Mhm.
have to do is nod. That's it. Dead serious. It works. So I did what, close to 500 interviews. And if you go back to my interviews, you're gonna see this shit a whole lot. Because look, I am a
I need a
fan.
meme.
Go ahead.
I need a meme of that. Of you just.
I mean, I'm a fan of music. I've never played a day in my life. I'm okay at singing. I like to sing. Some people say I'm okay at singing, but as far as like playing music or knowing the intricacies of music or songwriting or vocals or melodies or whatever, it's all alien to me. All of it.
Yeah.
So like
So
I
I guess really that's the difference with me. What it is like, I don't know like the math
yeah.
kind of side of it, but I got it. The
So like
creativity side of it.
I mean,
But
obviously, I'm interested in that kind of thing, right? Like, or I
hmm
wouldn't have the podcast to like invite these people over and like talk to them, right? So,
hmm
like, I'm good at asking the question, but like, as far as like trying to implement my own knowledge on the subject to make it go along,
that's the
no,
difference. And
that's
you can only BS your way so far.
right. Well, when I started interviewing and started taking it seriously, I really started to lean on people that I people that I looked up to that were interviewers, like Larry King and Johnny Carson, people like that. Like, how do you be a better interviewer? And Larry King just said you have to be a dumbass.
Yep.
You're just a dumbass. Ask the question that's already asked, but say it out loud, and
Yep.
don't like. You just have to do it in such a way where you're an absolute idiot. Like the interviewer looks like an idiot.
hmm
Like, why did you do that? What happened? Where did you go? Like, like real short, to the point
All the
questions.
details. Yep.
Right. And then just let them talk it out. And then
Yep.
if they're not very talkative, then that's when you can be a little less of a dumbass. Try to pull that
Yeah.
out of them. But that's essentially what I did for 500 episodes. Is I just sat there and I was a dumbass. That's it. Just
Whether you faked it or not.
there was a lot of
Whether
faking.
you faked it
Oh
or
yeah.
whether you nodded.
Yep. There was a lot of faking and a lot of nodding. And I mean, there were moments of brightness as well. I mean, I guess you don't just get nominated for awards by faking it, right?
It was all greatness. All greatness. That's what it was.
Oh my god, I was gonna say I'm trying to think of the segue here. Like speaking of faking it, but no, none of the segues are gonna work here. None of the segues are gonna work here. Anyway,
I feel like that.
condolences to Duane Eddy and his family. and
Yeah.
his fans and his friends. I was I knew of Duane Eddy. Obviously, I never met him, never talked to him. We did have some mutual contacts, and so it's always kind of neat. God, it's such a bad word to say when somebody passes, but it's always intriguing or interesting to me when somebody does pass away to just kind of go through my timeline and see who was influenced by that person and who knew him,
Yeah.
was friends with
The
him.
memory that they left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always
Their
cool.
footprint. Yeah.
All right, so a couple weeks ago on the last episode, we talked about a couple of new records that came out in our sphere in East Texas and Western Louisiana with Nick Brumley, Heather Little, and Blacktop Mojo. And another person that I am a huge fan of has recently released a new song. And the song is called Red Light. It's by a friend of mine named Walter Lee. Have you ever met Walter?
I have not, and I've heard of him, but I've never heard his music. This was my first go at it.
Ooh.
Uh, yeah, so interesting take on that. I thought you would like that. I figured you'd be excited that this was my first introduction. But so I'm okay. Going from country to rock, right? And I'm a rock artist. The in between is like a weird thing for me because I want to like it, but I also want to not like it at the same time. But I did enjoy it, and it had really good lyrics, and the production was incredible, and he has a really good voice.
Oh my gosh, man. There's so much about Walter Lee. Where do I
I would
start?
love to like see him, like go
So,
see him
you've
live.
heard of Rocket Queen?
Yeah.
So, Rocket Queen is Walter Lee.
Oh, okay, got it. That's all you had to say.
Yep.
Because I loved Rocket Cream.
Yeah.
Cream, huh?
Rocket
Rocket
Queen? Oh
Cream.
my god, not Rocket Queen. They're on tour with Path of Totality and Periodical Cicadas, Rocket Queen. No, we are talking about Rocket Queen.
Queen.
Walter
God,
Lee.
if I can speak.
And Walter Lee is the frontman, founder,
Yeah,
and
the vocalist.
vocalist of
Okay.
Rocket Queen.
So now that weirds me out even more.
It should, because this new song is so far, in my opinion, from what Rocket Queen gave to us over the years, which in my opinion, I'm not well versed in this. I do a lot of nodding, see the previous topic. But it was very 90s rock, very progressive, kind of reminded
Yeah.
me of like glam metal, hair metal, kind of Def Leppard.
I think I have an old Rocket Queen shirt somewhere. Because I remember I used to be nuts about Rocket Queen when I was like 11, 12, when I first really started getting like the East Texas kind of
Mm-hmm.
scene and stuff. I was obsessed, and I would see that and I would see like Chaz. I love Chaz.
Chaz is
Cool guy.
amazing. Are you kidding? I love Chaz, man.
So
First,
I was like tweaked out about them constantly.
Yep.
God, I haven't seen it forever, but I know there's a shirt somewhere. I know.
Now you're gonna have to find
Okay.
it. Yeah, you're gonna have to find
Yeah.
it.
Okay. So I'll have him on social media too. I was like, man, I know who this is, but I don't think maybe once or twice, but I don't think we've ever like talked or anything.
So for a long time, when I started streaming, this is funny. I'm sure you know Victims of Sanity too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremiah, who was one of their guitarists, had a desk, and I desperately needed like an L desk for my streaming. I wanted to have an L desk for my streaming setup when I streamed on Twitch. And so I put out a message, does anybody have a desk for free or cheap because I'm poor? And Jeremiah was like, yeah, I have a desk. And so we had to go down and pick it up. I forget where we went to get it, but we went and got it. And he says, by the way, a little trivia about this desk. This was actually previously owned by Walter Lee. And I was like, no way! Like, I'm such a big Walter Lee fan. Like, huge.
Yeah.
So, like, I used to say
that changes the whole thing for me now.
Yeah, it does me too. Because, like, again, very, very glam metal, prog rock, prog metal. I'm not sure the terminology. I know what it
Kind of
reminds
like,
me of. Motley
I mean,
Crue, like.
no, don't do that to them.
Well, you know what I mean from that era.
Don't,
That era.
yeah, like don't do that to Rocket Queen.
No, they're much better than Motley Crue, but from that era, like that style of music is what like the first
That
record
could be a
reminded me of.
topic next time. Is Motley.
Motley Crue. Okay, we'll put it down. Motley Crue. Oh God. Anyway, back on topic.
That makes literally I listen. I have like God, what's that album that I Hate You is on?
It's
The
since you've
like
been
the
gone.
fire.
Since you've been
Yeah,
gone, I
I
believe is
have
the name of the record.
the whole album saved. I've
Yes, me
had it
too.
saved for years.
I have it signed here on the wall somewhere. Trust that. Trust that. Yeah, it's called. Actually, the name of the record is "Goodnight California," but
That's what it is. Yep.
yeah, "Since You've Been Gone" is on the record though.
Yeah.
And so is "I Hate You," which is a great freaking song, by the way.
That was the first song I ever heard of theirs, and I was
So
like,
good.
"Ooh, I like it." Yeah.
I remember the first time I met Chaz. I think Chaz was the first person I met from Rocket Queen. He was doing the Tyler Comic Con.
Oh yeah.
And I think he was. I don't know if he was like a celebrity judge for something or something out there. And I remember I used to do these crazy little videos like pre-TikTok. Right, this was before TikTok, and like outside of the conference hall or whatever the hell it was called, like outside of the building, they had like this big display with nothing but white pumpkins in it.
Okay.
Okay, I know. Trust me, the context is important, right? So I says to my wife, I handed her my phone. I said, okay, I just need you to press play or record. Just push record and point the camera at me, point the phone at me, right? So I get down because the display is kind of low, right? And I'm like down on my hands and not down on my hands and knees, but I'm like crouched, like Steve Irwin, right? Crocodile Hunter. And she says that she's recording, and I'm like, guys, the White Pumpkins are out here. They're opening up for Rocket Queen tonight at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss this event. Oh, my God, it's the White Pumpkins. And then, like, she cut it. I know, you had to be there. It was so funny. Like, we had people walking around us and shit. And Chaz walked by me as I was doing this little video. Right? Again, pre-TikTok. This would have been a perfect TikTok video. But he was like, I'm Chaz. I'm the bassist with Rocket Queen. I'm like, you're not. You are absolutely not.
Timing.
He was super sweet, though. Like, we did a little interview and stuff like that. Because I think the reason why I was out there is because I was trying to do those promo videos that we used to do for the ETX Music Awards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we would have somebody just say, hey, I'm nominated for such and such. You should vote for me at etxmusic.com, blah, blah, blah. Remember all those videos we used to do?
Yes.
I think that's why I was out there. But
probably.
White Pumpkins opening for Periodical Cicada. What's up? Yeah. So, back on track. Guys, this is going to happen a lot.
A lot.
It's just
if you can't tell, this is episode 3 now. If you can't tell, it's a reoccurring problem.
It's never gonna stop. So anyway, personally speaking, as a humongous Rocket Queen fan, anytime I hear that Walter Lee is releasing or working on new music, whether it's for Rocket Queen or under his own name, or he produces music for other bands like Panic Device, which is a Tyler band who Walter is heavily involved with, I just get so stinking excited because Walter is, in my opinion, one of the most talented mother flowers in this area, in my opinion.
I didn't realize he produced either. A lot of people are getting into that these days, but that song was great produced. Like,
he's been doing it a long time. Long time he's been producing his own stuff and others as well. I like the song because not only of its style, which I'll get into a little bit more in a minute. In fact, the style is what most people who know me would say is probably what I wouldn't like about it. But I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain why I do like it. But the first thing I notice about the song is it's got an uplifting message. It's a positive song.
Yeah.
There are so many negative songs nowadays, and it's really quite enlightening to hear a song that has a message that's actually trying to help people. What a
Yep.
concept! What do you,
Crazy thing to hear about in America.
have you heard the song, Katie?
Yes, I went and listened to it earlier.
Yeah, I like it a
No,
lot.
I couldn't sit here and look. If we ever talk about talking about something and I don't, if it's a song and I don't at least go listen to it, smack me upside the head. That would be
so
so awful.
So just so we're clear, I'm already trusting you to do all of those things, obviously, and you are with me as well. We are both trusting the other one to do their part on this, so that way neither one of us looks like the Aflac duck looking at the camera like, was I supposed to do that? I was supposed to listen to the song. You didn't tell me I was supposed to listen to the
I thought we
song.
were just talking about
We
it.
were just gonna talk about the red light. What do you mean? No, but great uplifting message, trying to help people out. Basically, the premise of the song is don't let the red light stop you. Essentially, push
Yeah.
through, keep going, keep living. I talked about the style of the song. Um, there are a lot of people out there trying to blend country music with rock and roll. It's been happening for 50 years. It'll keep happening. This is a
Yeah.
really, really, really good mixture, in my opinion, of country music and rock and
Yeah.
roll. It has a lot of vibes from modern country. It still has the Rocket Queen vibes of 90s rock. Um,
Mhm.
if there was a perfect blend of rock and country, this song is really close to that.
I do like it. Yeah. I like I said, and I find the in between with really any genre. I mean, like whether that comes to like now I don't really listen to country much these days, but whether that comes to like country and pop or country and rap or that kind of thing, I'm very on the fence about. But country and rock, like you said, over forever, there's always been a little common thing there, and like people go kind of back and forth or float in between. I mean, Leonard Skinner is a great example of that, and they were huge, huge. And
Well, you
I
think
mean,
about all the rock bands from that same era that you're talking about.
exactly, and
Leonard
they all
Skinner,
like
Credence,
Eagles.
Eagles, so many.
Yeah,
Led Zeppelin. I
yeah,
mean, there's so
and
many that you
Eagles
could
even.
look at it now and you're just like, oh wow, there's a lot of country in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of rock that wasn't really rock,
Yeah, I know.
but so it's really just. I mean, honestly, I wonder sometimes why we even have these umbrellas, but I do think it's kind of cool in these instances, and I do think it was pulled off really well, and it was balanced really well.
I used to care about genre a lot.
Yeah,
Like it would hurt me, like physically hurt me if an artist that I liked would do a pop country song
yeah,
or mix genres. And I'm here to tell you in my old age that I was wrong. I was
yeah,
wrong because from before I was even around, the mixture of genres has been happening. From before Katie Lynn was thought of, from before Boston Chris was thought of, genres have been mixing forever. And for some reason, all of a sudden, in the 21st century, genre has become super important to people to where we are literally fighting, like viciously, physically fighting over genre. I
I
don't.
agree.
I,
So with me, I'm a big rock gal, but
of
I'm
course.
not just a big rock gal. I'm a big metal gal, and when you get into metal, the genres and subgenres do matter a lot, and there's very defining
Right.
factors.
And
So
that's
me and
where I
my
just
brain
start
works.
nodding. See, this is me nodding.
Yeah, don't look. It's like if you've never seen anything like it if you start going through all the subgenres of metal. But that's how my brain functions. Like everything has its spot. This is
Right.
you. You're over here. But I am learning. to enjoy and get past that.
So here's the question. Here's the
Learning.
question on that. The first thing that pops into my mind from somebody who's versed in knowing subgenres of metal music, when somebody takes the plunge and tries to combine two of those subgenres and they do a good job, does it or does it not blow your fucking mind?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So is it not worth it then? Is it worth it?
It's not.
I think it's worth it. Right?
I do.
Because, I mean, what you're doing, it's risky, obviously. It's a risk. But if you pull it off, you become transcendental. And that's a big word. In not just in amount of syllables, but also in meaning.
Yeah, when I really like started, I've been listening to heavy metal since I remember on America's Got Talent. I was talking with this producer that I love so much, and I showed him one of my favorite songs, and he got scared. And so I've been a little metalhead for a long time. And I remember when I first really got into it, I would not, and this is going to be funny to you, would not listen to like heavy metal music if they were singing at all. Like only like if you're gonna be screaming, you can only scream, or like you can sing and like throw in a little scream here and there. But I would not listen to it. I would hate it regardless. And I mean, a lot of metal's a big thing.
You didn't like. So you didn't like when screamo was used as a accessory, essentially.
No, I liked when it was used as an accessory. I didn't like when only screamo, like they brought vocals into it.
Okay.
So like the opposite.
So you didn't like when the entire song was screaming or the entire song was just vocals. You liked the mixture of that.
No, I hated the mixture. I only wanted screaming or only vocals.
So you only wanted one or the other. Yeah. So that's what I mean by like screamo as an accessory. So like a lot of songs that I've heard will be like melodic and super, pretty. And then all of a sudden, rah, 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 rah. So you didn't like that.
And I'm all about it now. Now okay. I do still float to the only screaming a lot. But just because I really like heavy chuggy chugs, and that's usually where you find it. That's just where you find it.
What did you just say?
Heavy chuggy chugs.
Okay. Fair enough. Is that a genre?
It is in my brain. It's Kadie's genre. I'll introduce you to stuff. I'll send you my playlist.
Yeah, please do. I'm interested in that. I think when somebody, I think that adds flavor to some songs. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, I like when a song, like you talk about metal.
The Beatles did it.
Oh, the Beatles were phenomenal at that. Like, just like serenading you and then making you want to like kill somebody in the same song. You know what I mean? I think if done right, it's perfect. I mean, it's making you feel something, and that's what matters, right? We talked about that episode 1. Feel something, don't think something. Feel, don't think. Yeah. Walter Lee, the new song is Red Light. I'm going to put a link in the description. Absolutely. I'm going to go there. I'm going to say, here's my quote in case Walter Lee sees this and wants to use it. Probably never will, but you never know. My quote is, this is pretty dang close to the perfect blend of country and rock. That's really hard to accomplish. I hear a lot of attempts at it. I listen to a lot of music. Walter Lee is one of those artists who not only am I incredibly humbled to have met the guy and know the guy, super awesome guy, but he is one of those guys, artists. I don't want to say guy because there's girls as well that I feel this way about, that I don't understand how the music business can be fair to everybody when there's talented people like Walter Lee that are struggling to get their art out there and be seen and heard. Because I don't know too many people that are more talented than Walter Lee at what he does. So it only makes sense to me that the music business must be unfair in some way.
Always.
You know?
In more than one way.
Lots of ways. Lots of ways.
We've touched on a few.
We have, and there'll be a few more, I'm sure, down the road.
Okay.
We did not talk about sponsorships today. I don't want people to think that that's what this is all about, because it's not about that totally. What just happened?
But
I will
it
fix
is
it.
about my...
But sponsors will be shown around the screen. You can see one right below me. The sponsor of this episode is HyperX. You can click on a link in the description below to get to HyperX. If you're not familiar with HyperX products, they are the #1 peripheral gaming company in North America. You can get all your headsets, your microphones, your keyboards, your mice, all kinds of stuff there for a phenomenal price and high quality products. And just by doing that, by using the link in the description below, we will get a commission of that. And that commission will go to help sprucing up the place. Sprucing up? I don't know if that's a word.
You'll start seeing a little more posters in the background.
and it will help us get better equipment as well. Then we won't have to have Katie hold the phone as it's charging, which is what's happening.
Maybe I'll get an extension cord for my charger.
Hey, that's right. So somebody click on the link down there, buy yourself a headset. That's right. Help Katie Lynn get an extension cord. That's important stuff. So Katie's going to use her cut for things like extension cords and maybe microphones or, I don't know, Chick-fil-A. Gravy. I forgot to ask you, how do you think cicadas would taste with gravy?
Bruh.
I mean...
Also, hold on. I got gravy last night. Jackson made me gravy last night. Anyway,
trillions of cicadas. Good. Imagine. Trillions. If we just had a little bit of gravy. You're not buying it?
I don't want it. I don't want it. I love gravy, but no, not that much. You have to really like get like a potato thing masher and just grind them up into.
So you want mashed cicadas? Oh my God!
Yes.
No gravy. Just want the mashed. Mashed.
I want
cicadas.
Them blended. I want them blended.
Oh my God! Just sell them at Starbucks extra latte. Grande cicada.
Oh, right.
Oh my God, this is why I love doing this, man. All right. We're going to get out of y'all's hair. This has been episode 3 with myself, Boston Chris. That's Miss Katie Lynn over there. We have all kinds of links in the description down below. A lot of things to support her, a lot of things to support me. You can choose to do that if you want. If you don't, that's okay too. Just sit back, watch the episode. We're going to be on YouTube and Spotify now. I didn't even tell you about that. We're on Spotify now. I know, crazy.
That's exciting.
So if you are listening on Spotify or watching, we got approved not only for podcasts, but video podcasts. That's not easy to do on Spotify, I have been told.
You've been holding out on me.
That's pretty dope. I forgot. Yeah, it's pretty dope. We are on Spotify, but we need your help if you are watching on Spotify. I think it's something like follow or something. We need like monthly follows or something to get monetized on Spotify. So that's going to be our first goal. Our first goal is to try to get people to follow on Spotify. So we'll do that. We're going to do that. Okay? Episode 3. I am Boston Chris. That's Katie Lynn. We're going to be live again shortly. Not live. We're going to be recording again shortly. I expect something major to happen tomorrow because it's the day after. Yep, something major is going to happen, like an earthquake or something. Who knows? I don't want to speak that into existence. What could I speak into existence other than an earthquake? How about chocolate pudding? Hail. That would be fun. Chocolate pudding hail. Then we could have mashed cicadas and chocolate pudding. Hail.
I don't like the sound of that. I think we need to give up on the food ideas this time.
But we could watch them at the Path of Totality concert. All right, no more, guys. Episode 3 is in the books. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.